Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Regen op mijn kop. Hinken via dekken moest de zieke kleine paardenbeent op. Geef mir geen zacht lid, die drop.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I am your host, Judy Gold. This week we have part 2 of my conversation with Jon Laster. He is such a great guy. In fact, I was doing a set last night at the Comedy Cellar and he was hosting the show, and I was just so happy to see him because he's, as you will hear more this week, he's just a phenomenal person. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I love you. So you graduate, but you're done with the basketball. Like because you were on your way to, going into the NBA. It was like, yeah, this is my next step is the NBA. You said that you were too immature. You didn't have the work ethic. You were sort of defiant and like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
But you do get a BA in economics with an emphasis on poverty.
Yeah.
Did you do well academically? I mean, or were you just interested in that? Or did
I did.
Do you think you learned? You said that you learned that the key is to move money around.
Well, to in any population, like if the circulation of the dollar, if your money's not circulating as a marginalized population, then you're going to stay in the same place. And I learned that at a very young age. So yeah.
But economics is a hard major.
Not at all. I don't think so. I don't think any of that stuff was all that difficult in college. Not to mention, to be honest with you, we had a lot of people helping us out.
Oh yeah, they have a lot of tutors. I
had a lot of tutors and a lot of women. That were good at paper.
Oh, I bet you did. So your sister lives in New York. Your dad lived in New York. You decide that you're going to move to New York. You take one box and you go to your sister's apartment and Desiree, and you sleep on her couch and you get a telemarketing job. Is that correct?
Yeah, telemarketing, yeah.
Aren't I good? You get a telemarketing job. You're not really making a lot of money, but your sister leaves the apartment to go to law school, right? And you get the apartment.
Yes.
And you start doing stand-up, which is so brilliant. So when I started doing stand-up, we didn't even, the idea of a bringer show was fucking, what do you mean? You have to bring people. It's like the clubs were packed. It was the 80s, There were so many. I could get on stage like 5 times a night. In the beginning, I'd go to some happy hour, then I'd go some other shithole and another shithole and hang out and try to get on. During the week, I could do that. So you start producing your own shows.
Yeah.
And getting on stage like 4 times a week, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
And you say you ate shit a lot. You got on stage and it was your first, because usually it's like the first set you do, you get laughs. And then it's the second set, you're like, oh, that didn't work again. Because you're so adrenalined up.
Yeah.
And you realize this is a lot of fucking work. And you said, you promised yourself you had learned so much from not applying yourself that you weren't going to do that again. You weren't going to have shitty work habits. And
you know what I think that I learned also though too was, like when I got to my sister's house, I wasn't making any money back then.
right.
I mean, so little money because I had an internship, and then I also had a part-time job that I would go to, the telemarketing job. But I remember one time going into the boss's office because my check was wrong, right? And I said, "Hey, man, my check it's $50, supposed to be $53." And I know that doesn't sound like a lot.
Right, but it is when it's 50,
That's
yeah.
like 40 ounces when you fucking...
You know what that is? Well, for me, it was an order of cold sesame noodles, which was usually my dinner, yeah.
Yeah. So I had to go in there and fight for my $3, but I was making so little money, right? He said, "Man, what are you talking about?" And I said, "Yeah, man, my check's supposed to be 53." And he said, he just went in his pocket and
threw $3 at you?
And he threw $3 at me. The crazy thing is, I didn't even take any offense to it. I just grabbed
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And went back and started making some more phone calls. But yeah, so I'm getting on stage and I'm bombing like hell. But I think
where was your first set?
At the Boston
Comedy Club. Yeah.
You know who put me on stage? Will Vince.
No fucking way.
Will Vince.
Will was on the podcast. He is my boyfriend, husband. I love Will. Will is the greatest guy in the whole fucking world. So he put you on stage.
Yeah, but I think my big takeaway though from one of there was obviously there's way too many to name right now, but I had learned. So when I get to my sister's, I sit down on the chair. I have one box. It's all I brought from Colorado, and I just started bawling. And I remember my sister saying, "Oh," she was panicking because I wasn't that guy. I'm not very like the emotional type of person.
Right.
I'm pretty steady. But I remember my sister jumping up and she was like, "Hey, don't worry. You don't have to stay. I have money. Don't worry. I know mom's going to be mad about the ticket, whatever. I can buy you a ticket home." And I remember telling my sister, I wasn't crying because I wanted to go back home. I was crying because I was never leaving.
Right. You were never leaving New York.
Yeah. Well, if I did, it was going to be in a box. I had learned that lesson from Minnesota. Stay the course. And my coach and Coach Loma used to tell me that all the time. Even if you do go to Minnesota, no matter what, stay.
Right.
You got to stay.
So it kind of all...
And I was like, oh my God, I want to get out of here. And I had learned through such a hurtful, painful way, you must stay. Fight through it no matter how bad it gets. You will eventually come out the other side. Okay. But you can't pack up and run because
you can't go back. Yeah, and there's nothing there for you. There's nothing there for you waiting for you. You can't. I love that.
And you into a jam in Colorado State, and so I had learned that the hard way. So I was just, and I'm bombing. But to me, it didn't matter because I'm not going back.
Right, and I'm gonna fucking figure this shit out.
Yes,
I'm gonna fucking figure it out.
Yes.
You then do figure it out and you decide, I'm going to be really clean, and you get a shitload of colleges and start making a shitload of money, which is great. And now of course you can't fucking, there's a whole, you go to college, you have to do a puppet show for someone not to be fucking offended, finger puppets, and don't use the middle finger because everyone's fucking offended. But you make a lot of money, and it's funny because you have two personalities. You have your club personality and you have your working clean thing, and you're making money. You get a lot of you have a mistress and you have a girlfriend, you're just, I heard that you were doing shows for some dope dealer. Is that correct?
All over the place. I mean, I started on the hood circuit, so there was a lot of dope dealers. But I mean, I used to, I worked for some dope dealers, these guys in Texas. I'm not snitching, they already went to jail. I remember flying down there one time when how did
they find you?
My agent who was booking me for the colleges, they had asked him, hey, we're trying to put this show on. He met them in passing and they were like, we're trying to do a show in Austin. He said, I can send you some comedians. So that's how they found me. He said, I got a great guy, and he was managing me. So he sent me down there, and they were like,
was he Jewish?
No.
Okay.
Jeff worked with Will and them at the Boston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, black guy, really, really smart guy. And so he sent me down there. But first of all, red flag, Bookie and Cowboy are their names, right?
That's hilarious.
They're washing money at this club. And I remember one time they come to get me from the airport. We pull into this gas station. This is what they said. They said, hey, man, we going in there to pay for the gas. If anybody puts some Tide boxes in the trunk, don't worry about it.
Oh.
Wait, Judy. So they go into the gas mart, right? And I'm talking about with almost, you know how they make those Intel computer chips? With almost that type of precision. As they get out the car, a Jeep pulls up, opens up the trunk, starts loading up the trunk with these Tide boxes, closes the door, pull out. They come out of the gas mart, get in the car, and then they said, hey, man, anybody put any boxes in the trunk? And I was like, because do you answer? I don't want to answer and say that I saw
Right.
it.
Right.
But I didn't want to not answer and them think that the boxes ain't in the trunk yet. Now they got to go shoot somebody. I was like, they was like, never mind, man. And then it just pulled off.
What kind of car were you in?
Oh, they had a 500. That's the big Benz.
Oh my God. And you're like freaking out.
Oh, big Benz.
And you haven't even done your show yet. So
I'm from the hood, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it was just like, if I was wondering what their hustle was, I didn't have to wonder anymore. And then we get back to the hotel, of course. And they was like, yo, John, they would always, I would get down there. Sometimes they would have a girl in the room for me and liquor. So they was like, hey, man, you can take old girl, man. Y'all can go to this other room that we have. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I grabbed the Hennessy and the Alizé and the girl. And they come in the room, right? And I remember they called the room. They was like, hey, man, y'all still having sex or whatever? I was like, nah, we good. They was like, okay, you come back to the room. So I go back to the room and there's this blue ring around the bathtub, where they were testing to make sure it was real coke.
oh my God.
I never told anybody that story either.
That is the best Tide boxes.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Is this the beginning of you becoming an addict?
Absolutely.
So you started using, but were you ever into drugs before this?
No, my bestie was, keep in mind, for all the women that I had, my best friend is a strip club DJ. So I know. It's Sodom and Gomorrah, both of our apartments, right? So he starts making a shit ton of money. I have 4 comedy clubs. He is the DJ of 4 strip clubs. So the girls would, because he's in the booth, they couldn't use their phones. So they would be like, hey, could you call this number and get this delivered here for me? So he's doing that constantly while he's DJing. And then one night the light bulb goes off. Why don't I just buy the coke?
Right.
So now your best friend
is buying coke for the strippers.
It's got coke now in mass. He's selling it to the strippers. You know what I mean? So of course there's coke, there's pills everywhere. Right. And eventually we start dabbing and the rest was, and then it just.
And so you said you loved ecstasy, cocaine, and Grey Goose vodka.
Oh, well, you know what? I think we started with, I don't know what I started with. I don't think it was Grey Goose. I ended it with Kettle One, but I
Oh,
think
Kettle One, that's right.
yeah, Kettle One.
Because, and I heard you speak about vodka, which I drink vodka, and I hate Tito's so much.
But
It
the advertising is great.
what is amazing, and they're a good company, but it's made from corn. I always order potato vodka. I like Chopin. I like potato vodka, Boyd and Blair. And every time I go to a restaurant and I said, oh, maybe I'll have a martini, and I say, oh, do you have any potato vodka? They're like, oh, we have Tito's. I'm like, it's corn. It is? Yes, it's made out of corn, you fuckhead. How long did you use for?
Oh, God.
And how old are you at this point?
When I started using.
And it's so amazing that you had avoided using for so long, Yeah,
we had to have started using maybe 25, I guess. Started using 10 years or so.
And you did this.
Probably 10 years straight, yeah.
You did it for 10 years straight.
10 years straight, yeah.
How did it affect your comedy? How did it affect your career?
You know what? I think that I just think that I there's no way to tell, but I would have to imagine that I would have been so much further along. I would like to think that there's no real way to know in the business that we're in.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would have to think that. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine did Will know?
Yeah.
I can't imagine, we're such a tight community. I can't imagine Will not saying, hey, bro,
I think everyone knew. I know that, recently, probably in the last couple of years, I bumped into an old promoter, and Mike Yard. I would host the first show. Cypher would host the second show. Mike Yard would host the third show at what was called the Laugh Lounge.
Mike Yard, another podcast guest who I love. Yes.
Lower East Side. And I remember talking to Mike, a couple of years ago, and the promoter. And I remember them saying, yeah, man, you came there one night. And it wasn't until you turned when you were on stage, and we saw this bottle, like a flask or a bottle in my back pocket. And they were like, you were forgetting punchlines, this, that, the other. I remember Mike saying, him and this guy, Bert Smooth, saying that when you left, we were in the office, and Bert asked him, is that the last time we're ever going to see him?
Wow.
And Mike said, I don't know, maybe. That may have been it. But I was teetering.
How much were you using?
There was just Coke everywhere.
Right.
So I would try to have some semblance of, not sobriety, but some semblance of sanity before I went on stage. So I would go on stage not having a drink before.
Right.
I would wait to the end of the show, but then we would drink until, 12, 1 in the afternoon the next day, fall asleep, wake up, show would be 7, 8, and then I would go, no drinks right before I walked on stage, and then
afterwards,
the ball would be, we would go to after hours, that opened at 3 in the morning or so.
Yeah. How did you stop?
I first went to rehab, and then I just had to find a way to shelve it a day at a time.
Did someone tell you to go to rehab? Did you?
Oh no, everyone knew.
Right.
I was very suicidal. I used to be up watching those goddamn puppy commercials with the,
Oh, I cannot. With the fucking dog freezing and the freezing cold and Sarah McLachlan or whatever the fuck her name.
I would watch those commercials, Judy, and I would be bawling.
I can't. I have to turn the channel. I have to fucking turn the channel.
Yo, when you have been using and as an addict and you're depressed, because it gets you, after a while, you're just in a constant state of depression with Coke and Bacardi in your system. But for some reason, I used to think that every night I'd be like, somebody's got to get these puppies.
So you go to rehab. How long did you go to rehab for?
28 days. The first time, yeah. I mean, I went to rehab, I think twice, maybe 3 times, but I went to outpatient and detox and detox and detox and rehab, outpatient and detox and rehab. And then eventually, for some people, God bless them, ending their addiction, because I've talked to trillions of people who are in recovery. Some people, you got to think of it as a lamp, right? You pull the cord out the socket, bam, it's over. Some people, like myself, you should think of as a train moving down a track. Doesn't matter how hard you slam on the brakes, it's going to take a while for the train to stop. Even though it has all intention of fully coming to a stop. It's just not going to stop like that. Or the way that a plane lands, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not the plane, but there's momentum.
Right.
Sparks flying, noise. That's how my addiction came to a close. I had every intention of completely stopping, but it took me a while. Sparks flying, screaming.
I think that's common. I think it's more common that it takes several rounds. Do you find that our community is helpful?
I think so, because I think, sometimes I never cease to be amazed. Like when I see someone who's sober and they say, yeah, I used to be fucked up. Because, when you see someone who's come out the other side, you're like, you're so, you know what I mean? You're such a thoughtful, this, that.
Right.
Like, not when I was fucked up, so we see the results of the work that they put in. So sometimes that's shocking to me. And it's like, oh, okay, that's good that I could look at this person and see that they got through too. But yeah, you just gotta,
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I knew Voss when he was using, and he's a fucking genius. He's hilarious. Like, you can't follow Voss. Voss is a powerhouse, but yeah, it was like a different person. I just give you guys so much credit. It's such a hard thing to have to deal with. And it's so great that you talk about it. Did your mother know about what was going on? And I mean, your siblings everyone knew?
Absolutely. I mean, even seemingly when you're okay. I remember my ex-girlfriend,
Is this the one who died last year?
Passed away, during the pandemic.
And she died of alcoholism.
Yeah.
So sad.
All related death, yeah. So, we used to live over on Vanderbilt and St. Mark's, but I remember one time I'm sitting there. It was a very nondescript door. You really had to know where you were going. No one ever knocked on that. And then you had to come up 3 flights of stairs.
Right.
Literally no one ever knocked on the door. So I'm sitting there, somebody knocks on the door, and I was so annoyed. Because it's got to be someone who lives in the building. No one even knows where this place is. And I open the door. It's my mom and my brother.
Wow.
Who had flew in from Denver.
Oh, boy.
And it was just, out of concern. And they were like, oh, we were in the neighborhood. Oh, get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Like, you weren't just in the...
Right.
They were nervous. So they,
wow.
So they came out to check out. And never said anything the whole time they were there. They were like, hey, you want to get something to eat? So we went to eat. They came to my show later. That not once did they say anything. I mean, that really affected me. Right. One of those times you're like, man, I got to pull it together.
Yeah. Wow.
It was the same type of thing as when my mom said, hey, look what's happening to your brother.
Right. And you see how your behavior affects other people.
That's the worst part of it.
Yes, I totally agree. I agree as a parent, as Ed, and you see, oh my God, I got to fix this in myself because I don't want my kids to.
My very last outing, I got put out of the club, and Esty called me, and that was the end of my drinking. She said, hey, you can kill yourself, but you're not going to do it in front of me.
Wow.
I'm not going to go home stressed out about
Esty, sorry.
Like this every day. Yeah. So she
good for Esty. I love her.
Yeah, she put the screws to me, and then she said, you can keep working, but you're gonna have to come down. You can't send in your avails. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'll bring this to a close. She said, yeah, that's not good enough. You're gonna come down here every Sunday so I can look at you.
God damn it, Esty. Good for you.
You look different when you're drinking. So I had to go down there so she could look at me, and we would sit there and eat. And then I would send in my avails. If I send Esty 4 days, she sends me 4 days. So I finally get back into the club. She finally says, okay, it's keep in mind, this is 3 months. It wasn't like some overnight thing. She made me come down there for 3 months, not working. I finally go down there. She said, okay, you can send your avails. So I send my avails. I send in 7 days. I haven't been working in 3 months. She sends me back one day and I was like, oh shit, I'm in trouble.
Right.
And I remember sitting with Keith Robinson and I said, man, I'm in trouble.
Another guest on the podcast. Go ahead.
Yes. I was like, dude, I'm going to be one of those people that she only books once a week now. And he said, no, man, be patient because I noticed she's still pulling for you because she only books you downstairs. So
Right.
She wants you sitting here with her.
Right.
And he said, you're in trouble when you get 2 fat blacks in a wall.
And you know what I got this week? 3 fat blacks. Okay? People don't understand. The Comedy Cellar has 4 rooms: Fat Black Lounge, Fat Black Bar, Village Underground, and the Comedy Cellar. And I got 1 Fat Black Bar and 2 lounges. And I'm like, what the fuck? I've been working here since 1987.
Yeah. So Esty, she made sure that I was done with my drinking, but yeah,
I love her for that.
So that's really
You got a lot of Jews in your corner.
Yeah, that was
Jack Loman,
yes,
Esty, Adorum,
yeah,
Fat Black fucking Pussycat.
Esty, that was the end of my drinking.
Good for her. This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself. You can process and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do and you sit there and you wait. And then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome. You started this Blap app, which I fucking love, but you have to tell the story. 1 week after fuck orange piece of cunt, shit, fuckhead, scumbag is elected, you are doing a set and a guy comes up to you, I guess at the bar, and says,
Gotham.
It was at Gotham.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I was supposed to say that.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
And he comes up to you, you're at Gotham, and he says, he started chiding you or telling you not to do political stuff and you can't say anything anymore. And he's this white guy. And
Yeah.
he says that he should be able to call you the N-word.
Yeah. And I almost hit him, and Veter is standing next to me. So I kind of bumped into Veter, and it brought me back to, reality that if I hit this guy, I'm going to be the bad guy.
Right.
Wow.
I read that story And it just makes me so fucking crazy that you, first of all, breathing while black. Like the fact that you are not free to express yourself because of the consequences simply because of your skin color, which is a whole shit that we created in this country. No one fucking, like, I don't think people in this country realize that before there wasn't even a black person and a white. It was just people. Like for hundreds of years ago, it's just like, that was it. We created this fucking shit.
You can feel that when you go other places.
I know, and it's not even close. As a lessee and a Jew, like I know when I go to a place and there's no Jews, and I'm like, oh boy, because they can kind of tell, or they'll say, oh, you're from New York, And I always, whenever I travel, if there are no people of color, I'm like, I got to get out of here because I feel like, oh my God, they're going to fucking kill me, But it's like, I can hide being a les, I can, not that I ever would, or I can straighten my hair or whatever I could do. I can't change my voice, but whatever. But you're a black man. And I've said this before on the podcast, Henry's best friend growing up, DeAndre, they went to college. They were college roommates. And DeAndre had to, I think I just said this on a recent podcast. DeAndre had to take a different road to the airport in Indiana and to the Indianapolis. So he wouldn't drive through this one where the KKK originated, like it took him another extra half hour, This is fucking shit. And I love the idea because you're right. You're right about this moving the dollar around. The Jews came over, they started little businesses, they helped each other, they built communities. And I think Magic Johnson often said, we have to, it's like, instead of our goal being to get out, it's got to be to stay in and make it better. And, but it's so hard because you were brought over here against your will and you're still fighting for,
But I also think that people grossly underestimate, or history is not just like you have these suburban white women now not wanting critical race theory taught to them
got it.
because it makes our kids hate themselves, whatever, right? But I think that one of the things that if you really taught the history of America, what you would know is that what segregation did was created pools of black money. What happened though, when you got those pools of black money, was terrorism. So the black kid who's driving around doing the extra 30 minutes, the reason that he has to do that extra 30 minutes, if there would be no need for a Klan if black people didn't start to do well.
Right.
The Klan is not an act of, we don't have anything to do, so let's go bother black people. It was to keep
them down. Yeah.
Yes. That's what people don't understand was, that the black people were starting to make money. The Oklahoma.
Look at Tulsa.
The Tulsa, right. But I'm saying there were literally countless Tulsas. There were countless pockets of that got burned down, that got beat up, that got where they would rape someone to send a message. You guys can't build up to what we have.
Right.
What people don't understand, and it's very uncomfortable because white people always want to have an uncomfortable conversation. Until you start the uncomfortable conversation, they say, let's have it another time. But what people don't understand is what a Republican is not someone anymore, because the veil's been lifted, the hood's been lifted, right? They're not people who are saying, hey, why don't we come up with a set of policies that are better than your set of policies? A lot of people don't know that in the 2020 convention, they literally didn't have a platform. Don't take my word for that. Google what the Republican platform.
Right.
You know what the Republican platform is? Don't let them.
Right.
You don't want them to get anything, do you?
Right.
Don't you want your white skin to matter?
Right.
You don't really want a fair race, do you?
Oh, what? 100%. You don't want to lose power. You don't want, it's all about, we're losing our grip on this power.
Right. But these are the same people who are vehemently against affirmative action. So
Right.
they're like, well, wait a minute, you just got that just because. But that's exactly what they're arguing. We want it because
Right.
this white skin should give us a head start.
Right.
Period.
Which is
they don't even pretend to have a platform. They're not saying we're gonna improve education or we have a better tax.
no, they don't. It's all about look what they're doing. Look what they're taking from you. That's exactly what it is. And it's also funny as a comic hearing all these white male comics going, it's really hard for it. And I'm like, fuck. Try being a fucking woman. Try being a fucking les. Try being a person of color. Fuck you. Oh, you have a little something,
That's what the vote is for. That's
Right.
what we're voting for. Why can't we continue to have it all?
Right.
And it doesn't matter whether we're the funniest people here or not.
Right. It just matters that, we have and also I get yelled at for calling people entitled. And I have realized now that when I say entitled, if you have never had to have someone stand in front of the Supreme Court, protest on the streets for a basic human right, then you're fucking entitled. If you've never had to fight for everything that you're born and given, then you're a fucking entitled and go fuck yourself. All right, so I could talk to you for fucking ever.
Absolutely.
First of all, John, I want everyone to go to your BLAP app. It's really important. Everyone out there, we have to build up these communities.
You know what's so crazy is in my first pitch meeting, this guy said to me, he said, well, isn't that a little divisive? Isn't this like a little racist? And I was saying to him, just like you were saying right now about the march and the protest, and I explained to him, which he actually, oddly enough, agreed with me when it was over. When I explained to him, I said, well, the thing about this is because of the way that we came to this country, and one of the things that we could not do was accumulate wealth, right? They've thwarted that at every turn. And I don't even mean with just slavery. We're talking about and we're talking about the terrorization of when communities were starting to build up. We're talking about not being able to get having the same relationships with banks during the COVID crisis. So a lot of people don't know almost half of Black-owned businesses went under during the pandemic. A lot of people don't know that because we didn't have relationships with the banks the way that some of our white counterparts did. So our financial situation has always come with a unique set of circumstances, which means it's going to require a unique solution. It's not some random thing. We've had 400 years of a headwind, so you got to do something if these communities are ever going to be able to get a foothold. You got to do something different. Right,
and money. If nothing talks louder than money in this country. And I grew up in a household where my parents often boycotted certain companies who had anti-Semitic or racist policies. We were not allowed to, buy this or that, and my parents lived by that. And it's true. It's very important. And also the way they try to stop these people from voting, like, how can you call yourself an American and try to prevent someone from voting? Like, that is simply the most un-American. And it's like, you fuck. It's so infuriating. So
I've been working on this joke that, it literally doesn't matter what you do in this country. It only matters who did it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because if you are Barack Obama and you have 30 credible women saying, hey, this guy assaulted me, you would never be president.
Oh my God, that joke you do about like, Trump. Three baby mamas. Can you imagine a black guy with 3 baby mamas becoming president?
Same people who got off their couch and voted for him, what would they say?
Right.
Wait a minute. 3rd baby mama who got pictures of her ass in the air.
Oh my God. I used to write, Melania is the only first lady I've ever seen naked.
And don't speak English.
Yeah. Right.
But
they don't care. And they hate immigrants. They hate foreigners. Like, they're just so fucking, I hate them all. Go to Blap app, you fuckheads. All right, before we go, number 1, these are the 2 questions I ask all my guests. We are very pro mental health. I suffer, anxiety, depression, like the whole fucking inbred Jew gamut. So what do you do for your mental health?
You know what? I was just talking to a friend of mine who said that she was insanely depressed. She recently got hit by a car, so she's not been able to run. But I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
So, today I did a 5-mile run. So I think that goes a long way for me. I also spend a lot of time by myself meditating. I'm a huge law of attraction person. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that I do a fair amount of.
What kind of meditation do you do?
Just meditation. I just meditate.
The mindful?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I do. I want to do transcendental medication. Meditation. But I'm not one of these hip fucking cool people who get their own mantra. All these fucking guys get their own fucking mantra, and it's so annoying. And I don't know. I'll never be the cool one. And then here's we call the podcast Kill Me Now, because as you know, everything pisses me off. Yeah. So I want to know what pisses you off more than anything in the entire, like, makes you fucking crazy.
What makes me fucking
like so fucking mad?
I think people thinking. I think when someone thinks that I'm dumb, like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean. When someone says something to me that because it's not the things that people would normally think. Like, we were out the other day and this white woman was like, "Hey, do you know where there's another exit?" And I was like, "No," but my friend standing next to me, she was like, "He doesn't work here." Like, oh, I'm saying, yeah. And she was like, "Does he look like he works? He's standing here with a drink. He's talking to us. He doesn't even have what are you talking? He doesn't work." And she went off on it. It didn't bother me a bit, but I think when people do like think that I'm like dumb, like, "Hey, I got this show for you, man. It'll be a lot of exposure."
Oh, shut up! Shut the fuck up!
Yo, you trying to trick me into thinking that you doing me a favor?
Right.
Oh, that makes my blood boil.
I hate that too. Like, I'm doing you a favor.
Yes.
It's like, fuck you. You're lucky to have me, you fucking asshole.
The person that was talking at the show, like, I was trying to help your act. Like,
oh, I fucking hate that. Hey, and they come, the worst fucking heckler who you're like, just shut the fuck up. And then afterwards they're like, "Oh my God, you were so funny." I'm like, fuck you, ruined my whole fucking train of thought, you asshole.
Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, I hear you. White men don't think that. They always think they're the prize. Jon, everyone loves you. I love you. Where can people follow you?
That He Was Funny.
He Was Funny.
Yes.
He is adorable. Check Blap. Blap.
Yeah, please download Blap.
BLAPP. Share, download. I can't thank you enough for coming on. I could do this for another 2 hours, but
absolutely. I love you, Judy.
I love you.
Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of Kill Me Now with the incredible Jon Laster. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling. This podcast would not be possible without the help of Brittany Jo Sowards. Now, if you are a listener and you haven't subscribed, what the fuck? I need you to subscribe and leave a review of 5 stars. 5 stars, please, 5 stars. It just helps. It helps it helps my life. It helps, people find the show. It helps me feel loved. I just want to feel loved. Also, if you haven't purchased my book, what's wrong with you? It's a great book. And if you love comedy, and it's very, right now, especially with what happened with Whoopi and all the cancel culture and, whatever. It's a very important, this is how my mother would have said it. It's a very important book. And I want you to read my daughter's book. So read the book and write another 5-star review wherever you write 5-star reviews for books. Also, I have some upcoming dates. If you're still listening, I love you. You know how I feel like everyone just clicks it off, baby. But, I am scheduled to be performing at the Strand Bookstore on February 26th. Queerotica comedy. That's in New York City. Queerotica. Isn't that funny? I am at City Winery on March 10th in New York City. It's sold out last time. It's a fucking great room. Come. It's so much fun. I'm at the Raz Room in New Hope, Pennsylvania on March 12th. I am at the Raz Room at the Savoy Theater in Fort Lauderdale on March 26th. And that will be the week after Daylight Savings Time. Thank God, I can't take any more. So, also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. I'm Judy Gold, at Judy Gold, JEWDYGOLD, because I am a Jew. Yes, I am. I'm a Jew. And, I sit here and chat at the end of the show because I figure no one's listening and I'm just going to do what the fuck I want. So I want you to follow me. And I just want, all right, don't you think the pandemic is almost over, this COVID shit? I'm feeling like it is. But I really need orange fuckface to go to jail just to, be the icing on the cake. I don't know what else to tell you. If you're still listening, you're my favorite person in the entire world. Seriously. Because I know no one's listening. And I don't care. Because I'll still talk and talk and talk. Be safe. Wear your fucking masks. If you're not vaccinated or boosted, I don't even know what to tell you. Go fuck yourself. Seriously. And, just take care of yourself. It's February. That means the sun will be coming out soon and the days will be getting longer and won't be fucking freezing. I moved the mic away for that. So listen, have a great week. Thank you so much for listening. And as we always say, so long.